All right, shalom. First and foremost, we give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Heavenly Father, right? Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ruach. And I want to give double honor to the apostles, the bishops, the elders at GMS. Shalom to you, brothers, that's preaching and teaching this truth and sincerity across the four winds of the earth, right? And I want to go into this little thing real fast. It says the United Nations, right? It says just declared the world is in water bankruptcy. We are using more water, it says, than the earth can replenish, right? And as we know, we're coming into trying times, but this just goes to show, right, who is in rulership, right? Because you're never going to hear anything about this in the kingdom, ever, right? All the recalls on this and the lettuce and tomatoes and E. coli breakouts and all that stuff, you're never going to hear anything along those lines, right, in the kingdom, man. It's just not going to be a thing, right? But here and on this side, right, this is a thing that is going on, which they're more than likely lying about, right? They're just doing that so they can start controlling more of the natural resources in the earth, of course. Right, everything is moving towards that NWO, to where you have no other choice really but to bow the knee and lean on Esau's pseudoscience and believe in things that he's saying, and so on and so forth, right? It's coming to that time period, right? And that is the whole, goal, is for them to put such a squeeze, right? The squeeze the life pretty much out of everybody, to where the only solution, the proper solution that they have, is you're gonna have to lean on them and trust in them and come to them for your daily bread, your food, your water, your shelter, your clothes, right? And it's already like that to a degree, right? When you read the curses, it says, that we should go into our enemies and one of all things, but that's going to get a lot worse. And this is going to be for everybody, right? It's not going to be just on us. This is going to be on all the nations, man, even their own people, you see, because they want to accomplish their NWO, which ends with, pretty much total world, domination, and to put chips in everybody, you see. Crazy plan, of course. Right, but that's what they think, because they want to be like the Most High, man. They want to be able to see what you're doing at all times. They want to know your thoughts. They want to, know what you're watching. They want to know where the money you're spending is going. They want to know all those things. They want all your deepest, darkest secrets. They want to know all that. You see, they want to be able to track you and see where you at every single time. They want to give you a curfew. You need to be in the room in your house at this time, so on and so forth. They want total control. They want completely just slaves, right? And we know through, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that's not going to happen. They're not going to be allowed to accomplish their NWO, right? They're going to get, you would say, probably a decent ways into it, but they're not going to be able to fully accomplish it. Yeah, like you're trying to have eight, 9, it's probably more than that, but 9 plus maybe 10 at this point, right? 10 plus billion people on the planet, and you want everybody chipped, and the people that don't agree and bow the knee, you want to kill them, right? So that is the plan of this, but this is just, outrageous thing to have on the planet Earth, where it's mainly water. Over 70%, I think 75%. The Earth is 75% water, and here it is. You're talking about there's a water shortage, right? That doesn't. So now I want to transition over to this, right? I looked it up. I said water shortage U.S. declares, right? Just to get a broad statement, right? So I looked it up, and it says here, this is from the AI overview on Google. It says the Puerto Rico, it says, declared an island-wide state of emergency and began mandatory water rationing in August. Right, it says while the broader American Southwest faces severe and worsening shortages along the Colorado River. It says the Puerto Rico water crisis is a state of emergency. Governor Jennifer Gonzalez Golan, right, it says, declared an emergency following months of below normal rainfall and extreme drought conditions. Water rationing. It says hundreds of thousands of residents in areas like San Juan face rotating 48-hour water shutoffs as authorities try to preserve the dwindling reservoir levels. Right. It says the western U.S. and Colorado River shortages. Lake Mead's levels, the nation's largest reservoir, it says, has dropped to roughly 33% of its capacity, it says, with the forecasting showing levels continuing to decline. And a lot of this has to go into all these data centers and all these things that they're building, where is requiring tons and tons and tons of water, right? Because those data centers, those machines and stuff, they get extremely, extremely hot. So they're built to be submerged pretty much underwater to keep them cool, to keep them functioning. You see, so that's where all the water and all the energy and all these things are going, is into these data centers that they're putting around over the place. And a lot of these cities where they're building them at, if you drive around like certain neighborhoods, I know out here, right in Colorado, that some neighborhoods you drive in, people got the signs, right? They got the signs on their front lawn talking about no data centers and this and that. But it's just all a part of their agenda, man. You see, and you can tell that these people are not wise rulers because of the things that they're doing. Here it is, you have people that's underneath you and this and that, but you're not instructing them in a wise way, right? You're putting hell on people, man. Right? And in the kingdom, of course, that the heathens are going to catch hell and they're going to, get beaten and, so on and so forth. But they're not going to be subject to things like this, right? They're not going to be able, taxing them on this and then putting data centers in their neighborhoods where you barely got any water, and then they'll be telling them we got to shut down on your showers and you got to shut down on you using a certain amount of water a week and all these things, because the earth is never going to run out of water, man. That's not a thing. That's not a thing, right? But only in this society to where you would see something like this or hear something like this. You see, it says federal proposals. It says the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, right? It says has proposed strict water cuts for lower basin states, including Arizona, California, and Nevada. It says as major water sharing agreements near expiration. State declarations. It says record low snowpacks have also triggered drought emergency declarations across several western states, including Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, and Idaho. You see, and I said that the United Nations declared as well. It says the United Nations did not issue a specific legal emergency declaration for the United States, but it did issue a major global announcement that directly includes regions like the American Southwest. You see, the definition, it says the UN used the term bankruptcy rather than crisis to signal that critical water systems have suffered irreversible damage. Many overpumped aquifers and rivers will never naturally return to historical baselines. It says the report specifically highlights the American Southwest alongside the Middle East and North Africa as regions facing the most severe structural insolvency. A call to action. I ain't gonna read the other part. It says the UN urged world leaders to stop managing water scarcity as a temporary shock and instead pivot to long-term bankruptcy management, meaning transparent water accounting and strict enforcement of safe consumption limits. So they're getting ready to start to tell you that you can only shower for this long. They're getting ready to start to tell you where you can only wash your car one time a week. You can only water your grass once every 2 weeks, twice a month, or whatever the case may be. They're going to start telling you these things, right? This is the squeeze starting to get a little bit tighter, and it's going to get worse, right? This is the squeeze getting a little bit tighter, right? On Babylon the Great, that they're enforcing these things. You see, because they want it. It's a fear tactic. So they're trying to say that, okay, all of these things are happening, so we need to do this. This is the solution. Right? Just like how when the COVID-19 thing happened, it was a fear tactic. Look, all these people are dying from this. If this age group is doing this, if you start to feel this symptom, you need to do this. And then if that happens, you need to do that. You see, it's all an attack. And just like how they're going to come in a later time when they start, banning guns and all these things, it's all going to be in the name of safety. You see, they're gonna say, "Look, man, all these shootings and all these things and all that stuff is happening. Even the attack on the president, they're using Trump. It was I think it was an armed guy on his golf course or something that I seen a couple days ago or earlier this week. You see, and then when he was at his birthday celebration, wherever some dude ran in, it's just like it's constant, man. Then they have these actors, of course, that go into certain areas, and then they put the cameras on them, and be like, oh man, I was running for my life, and the attacker, he looked like this, and I was fearing it. It's all a big shit show, right? But it's all a big movie to them. You see, they're moving all these pieces in place so they can get to the next step in their totalitarian tiptoe. You see, that's what we're going towards, right? And it's very obvious to tell. Right, just like the dude said in this video, he say, if you know the outcome, you see the journey, man. Right, we know what they're trying to do, or what they're trying to accomplish. So we see every little step that they take. We see exactly what they're trying to accomplish. We see exactly what they're trying to do. You see, and via through the power and the will of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, right, via the Holy Spirit as well. Right, we see these things. All of these things are being revealed and given unto us, so we can report in and let you know what's going on, man. You see, it's not, and it's gonna get worse. But they're just saying these things as fear tactics, right? So they can implement other things. You see, right? So I just got a couple scriptures, man, and we gonna shut it down. Let's see here. Okay. This is Ecclesiastes 10 and verse 1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, it says, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. And just like how you can tell what the leaders are like based off pretty much what the scripture's saying, you can see what the things they believe in based off how you see the people act. And how do you see the people act in Babylon the Great? Crazy, bugged out, get demons on them. They're just walking around doing whatever the hell they want to, right? So best believe that the rulers are just like that. So that's why the people are like that. The people ain't gonna be as bugged out and all these damn evil demons and all this stuff that you see going on here. It's not gonna be like that in the kingdom. Right? Heathens gonna catch hell. Like, don't get it twisted. They gonna get beat and they gonna catch hell, but we're not gonna be poisoning them. We ain't gonna poison the heathen. We need them. You see, Esau is coming to a point where he's pretty much saying he doesn't need humans on earth. No, we need humans. Because who's gonna do the work? You see, who's gonna build up the kingdom? You see, it says, an unwise king destroyeth his people. It says, but through the prudence of them, it says, which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. You see, an unwise king destroyeth the people. Right? And can we see right now that the people in rulership is an unwise king? Yes, because they're destroying the people with everything, and they're doing it on purpose. It's not like they're doing it by accident. No, they're spraying the air, they're poisoning the food. Right? They're making prices of everything just skyrocket. They're making life literally a living hell, man. You see, they're doing it on purpose. It's not, we didn't know. Johnson & Johnson, the lawsuit with them. You didn't think they knew that the talc was in the baby powder that was causing cancer? No, they did know that. You don't think Fauci knew about the vaccine that he was pushing on people? Now he's on trial trying to plead the fifth. No, he knew what it was going to do. Like, it's not like these people are doing this stuff by accident and people just don't know. No. There's experiments all over the internet of people testing the food, letting it sit out, and it doesn't mold, it doesn't rot. There's people doing all types of stuff. These people know what they're doing, man. But it's all for money. It's all about money. They pump all these pesticides and all these things in the food so it can last longer. Less money that you have to spend on making it more, right? So you can make more money, man. That's why you got bread that can last for almost a month with no mold on it. Bread is not supposed to last that long. That's why I had an apple actually a couple weeks ago. I was eating an apple and I let it sit out for a little bit. And back in the day when you was a kid, You let that apple sit out for a few minutes, it got all brown from the oxidation. Bro, that apple did not even turn brown, man. And I let it sit out for like 20, 30 minutes and nothing was happening. I was like, yeah. You see, everything is just completely just, different in this place. But they're doing it on purpose. It's not an accident. So let's get one more. And we're going to shut it down. Right? And this is Proverbs 29 in verse 2. Right? It says, when the righteous are in authority, it says the people rejoice. It says, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn, man. You see, and everybody's in a state of mourning. Nobody's happy about all the things that's happening in Babylon the Great right now. Nobody. You see, people have hope that this place is going to change, it's going to get better, but it's just not going to happen, man. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse, and then eventually it's going to be destroyed. We have to get out of here. And you're talking about, you have to really fathom and really internalize what was being taught. There is a water shortage on the earth. A water shortage on the earth, man. And that's what they want people to believe. Shalom.